Hi everyone and welcome to Business Spotlight, where I'm delighted to be joined by Douglas Hamilton, who's co-founder at Talentworx. Welcome Douglas, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Yourself?
I'm good. So thanks for coming along today. Tell us a bit about what it is you do, just in a nutshell, and then we'll start to unpick a little bit about your background that's led you to this place.
Okay. Well, we are what I would classify as a talent partner organisation. So we focus on attraction, retention, and acquisition of new talent for businesses in Scotland.
Okay. And so what's got you to this place? Did you start in recruitment? Has that been your career so far?
No, I'm not. I don't come from a recruitment background. I come from a kind of a sales and marketing. I started my career in door-to-door sales, commission only, out in the kind of trudging around in the rain and selling everything from loft and caveat wall insulation to credit cards and all that sort of exciting stuff.
It's a tough gig.
Yeah, very tough gig. Yeah, I mean, the first time, I think within my first 6 weeks, I was so absolutely skint, and I had no money at all. That I had a hole the size of a 50p coin in the bottom of my shoe, and I did the whole classic, stuff the newspaper thing into it, and trudging around and kind of work through it, But it was certainly character building, and it teaches you a few things that you don't pick up elsewhere in the business world, I don't think, So
totally.
Yeah, so I moved on from that into I went and worked with a manufacturing company within a marketing role, and helped them kind of launch a new education product to market. Had a little sabbatical over to New Zealand for a couple of years. So I lived over there and just kind of messed around with a bit of traveling, and came back from New Zealand and really kind of wanted to start my own business. So I tiptoed into recruitment for a little while. Wasn't the right match for me in terms of the business, but I went back into that kind of the sales and marketing side of things. So we built Endeavour Interactions at the time, which was a kind of direct sales and digital marketing company. So we used to operate kind of event stands and stalls across Scotland, across Northern Ireland, for clients like British Red Cross, ADT Fire Security. We did a little bit of work with a company called Love Energy Savings, which is kind of like a little bit of a kind of compare the market for energy companies. It's a bit of business to business stuff there, but we work with huge charity partners. We raised millions and millions of pounds for a charity called Click Sergeant, which is a kids' cancer charity, which I'm tremendously proud of. And obviously we did a huge amount of work with Erskine Hospital as well for Scottish veterans. So I think it's probably kind of safe to say that through what I've done, the reason I ended up in recruitment was because I just have a passion for people. I really love interacting with people on a day-to-day basis. I think the idea of being stuck in a role for me where I can't talk to people anymore would drive me absolutely mental. Yeah. I'm off the charts on the ADHD scale as well. So I've got the whole I've got dual type ADHD, so I'm hyperactive and attentive. So you can't peg me down too much. So I need to be out there talking to people. Otherwise, I'm just a nervous wreck, I think. So.
And so tell us about how Talentworx came about then.
It's a bit of a kind of a funny story. When I basically, long story short, with COVID, I had to close my previous business down. Unfortunately, just because we dealt with face-to-face in the public, as I'm sure you can imagine, with the social distancing restrictions, something we had to cease trading, unfortunately. But for me, it was, again, like I said, tapping into that vein of passion that I have for people. So it was a logical step for me to kind of take that kind of stride into recruitment. So I started off working in executive search, went into to build and develop and launch a tech division for an established executive search company in Glasgow. But I kind of quickly realised on a wider perspective, not necessarily with them particularly, but on a wider perspective, that the recruitment industry just wasn't moving with the times. It was very kind of stuck in the past, and I think that the priorities of the whole industry were very kind of skewed. Right. There's a lot of businesses out there. I think recruitment is very insular. If you look at a lot of the recruitment businesses, if you look at the websites and all that, for example, they're all just exactly the same as each other, just kind of copy and paste, slightly different colours and maybe a few different kind of things there. But it's the same content regurgitated time and time again. And if you actually look at the core of their businesses, it's the exact same business. It's just someone else sitting in the chair kind of type thing. Yeah. What I wanted to do, and this is probably coming from an external perspective, looking in at the industry rather than being kind of that traditional recruiter path there, was actually looking at it and kind of trying to understand what is it that the businesses need from that, what is it that candidates require from the recruitment industry, what is it that where does that service ultimately add value? What is it that these companies are trying to accomplish from that? So Talentworx sort of kind of started in my brain. It wasn't originally called Talentworx, but that kind of evolved. Secured obviously the investment from the guys over at Softworks, so we've really kind of partnered up with them. It's an established managed service provider business, working quite heavily within that tech space. They also do a lot of kind of audiovisual telecoms, dealing with large corporates all the way down to SME level, and the public sector bodies as well. But it kind of seemed like there was a lot of synergy between what they're trying to accomplish on their side and what we're trying to accomplish. So we kind of brought my my kind of brainchild, my IP, if you like, together with them, and really created something quite unique, and we're quite excited about it.
Sounds good. And so it sounds like you feel you're a bit of a disruptor in that space. Would that be fair to say?
Yeah, I think probably, yeah. I think we're trying to shake things up a little bit, trying to read. I think the line that I would probably use here is we're trying to redefine what a talent partner or what a recruitment partner actually is.
Nice.
Like I said, the recruitment industry as a whole is very much a kind of throw it at the wall and see what kind of sticks kind of type thing. We're very much about finding that kind of key individual match, making sure that the person not only culturally fits, but aspirationally fits with the business. But more than that, it's actually about kind of, like I said before, there was actually looking at where does a real talent partner actually add value to these businesses? And it's the three kind of key pillars there are the attraction, the acquisition, and the retention of staff. It's not or retention of key talent and key individuals within a business. It's not just about putting a bum in a seat, for example. Anybody can do that. Anyone can go out and find a CV that looks like it matches and kind of sort of fluff them through an interview. For us, it's really about kind of going, what are your Amazon, Google scale vision and dreams that you have for your organization? And how do we as a business, as your talent partner, how do we support you to achieve those long-term growth goals and targets? We're in a unique position. If you put the right person in a role, the difference between putting the right or the wrong person in there, can be absolutely earth-shattering or monumental for the success of a business, particularly if it's a small business and one that's trying to compete with the ever-swelling large corporations in London.
And so how do you go about identifying the right person? Because, it's a fickle game, recruitment, isn't it? And it's, you can do a lot and still get the wrong person. So what steps would you take to make that person the one for that business?
No, I think that's a really good point, actually, and I think it's looking beyond the CV. It's actually having open, honest, transparent conversations with those candidates on that kind of ground level. They're actually trying to understand why they are moving, why they're looking for a new opportunity, what's their core passions, who are they as a person. Understanding culturally who they are and what they're aspirationally trying to accomplish. And it's a difficult task because you talk to one person, they'll tell you it's my family's my priority, but really it's the fancy car on the driveway, or vice versa. They'll tell you it's their car, but it's actually the family and the different motivating factors and stuff in there. So I think and I probably we were saying I'm pulling on my background into this as well, and having that kind of passion for people and having that exposure to people. It's really trying to actually understand who are they as a person, what is that business trying to accomplish, and trying to bring the two halves of the one whole together and make something kind of, pardon the cheesy line here, but something magical happen.
Yeah. Do you think people always know what drives them though? Is that something that's obvious to everyone?
No, I don't think it is. No, but I think that's part of the value that we add. And I won't give away all my trade secrets here, but as part of the value that we actually add in that process, there is when you're good with people and you understand, you can kind of coax. You can get to the root of that kind of. You can get to the root of actually what that is when you talk to them enough and understand enough about who they are. And you can really kind of start to try and you can really start to figure that actually out. And the more you interact with them, and we try to spend a good bit of time and a good bit of quality time with the candidates to really understand, like I said, actually, like who actually are they at their core? What is it they're trying to accomplish? What are the things that they love doing? What are the things that they don't love doing? Where do they add value? And what do they think they're good at?
Yeah. And so if I'm looking for staff, what are the reasons that I should come and work with you? What are your points of difference, if you like?
Well, first and foremost, everything that we do, our kind of key values here are trust, human connection, and transparency and honesty, right? So for us, it's really about we'll really try and understand what it is that your business is trying to accomplish. Just like we do with our candidates, I want to understand what it is that makes your business special, because every business has something that makes them special. That's why they exist in the first place. Whether that's the person who founded it and the vision and the desire and the hopes that they've poured into that business and crafted with that business. But there's always something in there. There's always a spark that makes it special. So it's understanding where the business is at, understanding where it's trying to go to. And then we'll help. We'll actually, from a consultative piece, we'll sit down with them and actually work out how it is that we do that. And like I said, that could be anything from helping that business increase its talent profile, its attractiveness externally to the market, to talent out there, really trying to get to grips with what are the pain points within their business as well. Do they have high turnover of staff? How do we help them retain that staff? We have access to a huge amount of data, and we get it for free because we talk to candidates all the time. Things like what are the employee benefits? What's the average time that someone who has this particular skill set spends traveling to work? How many days a week do people really actually want to work? Because we talk to them all the time. We have that constant interaction. And what we really do is harvesting all of that data, obviously from a confidential perspective, but we're harvesting all of that data and really understanding where the market's going and what is the disparity between where it is right now and where people want it to be, and helping businesses navigate that traverse, if you like, and creating a path that's ultimately going to make them more attractive to be part of. But also, when they do get that amazing talent and we do find them the right person, is that they can actually keep them. Because the cost of, as we probably said, the cost of actually making the wrong hire can be earth-shattering or monumental to the success of a business. And our core passion is actually helping these businesses succeed. I'm a tremendously proud Scot, and I want to help SMEs across Scotland to thrive and succeed and develop and grow. And we're just kind of really excited to be part of that journey for a lot of these businesses. But we also feel that we have something unique to offer them. So.
And I know before you came on, we'd mentioned a couple of figures of what the actual cost of making the wrong hire is. What were those figures again you shared with us?
Well, the disparities, the first figure was the disparity between a low performer and a high performer within a business is 67%. So if you actually look at the long-term cost that actually has on a business, it's tremendous. The actual the expenditure there is huge. And it's not only that, it's where you have to look at different things. If you bring in someone and you kind of take a risk and take a chance on them, you've got a huge amount of time, effort, and energy that goes into that person to kind of bring them onto the processes, systems, and how your business actually operates. And it's not just about financial cost. You have to look at the human cost behind this as well. What is it going to do to the rest of your team if they're having to work and collaborate and coach and train and develop and mentor someone as well within a space that person shouldn't really be in? What's the cost that's going to have on the rest of your team if you consistently make bad hires? Out with the financial cost, the human cost is absolutely huge, because you all of a sudden change the dynamic and the engagement that those other staff members that were all on the same path and on the same direction as you've changed their general feeling of the environment and the team that they're working in. Culturally, putting the wrong person in place is way more damaging than just the initial cost of someone's salary. Even, I think what we spoke about was it's around about 33% of the salary cost financially, but it's so much higher than that. It can derail a business very, very quickly, or derail quite a cohesive team very, very quickly. It's extremely difficult to bring that back. So I think that's the value for us, is that I'll give you a prime example of this. Sorry, and I'm kind of nattering here, but a prime example of this is we're working quite closely with a managed service provider in Scotland at the moment, and we had a really amazing relationship. We have a really amazing relationship with these guys. But I can tell that they have some tremendously cool IPs, intellectual property projects that they're working on, things that they're ready to launch to market, things they're not quite ready to launch to market. But we had a really open conversation with them. They really kind of opened up their books to us to a degree and actually showed us where, what sort of percentage profit they have on the products they're selling, where should their commission rates be, what sort of benefits should they have in place. Actually, we've got a couple of requirements here. Are these the right people that we should be hiring? Is this what we actually need for our business? And we kind of boiled it back and had a look at it and went, look, actually, the role requirements that you set out to us, these aren't the right individuals. You're hiring for the wrong thing. You need this. You need X, Y, and Z. And they went away and had their whole consultative piece and came back and went, you know what, hands up, you're absolutely spot on. Can you go find us these people? And we've done that, and it's working tremendously well for them. But that's the consultative piece. It's being more than just you've got a vacancy, let me fill that for you.
Yeah.
Anyone can do that.
Go on.
No, I was just saying, anyone can do that. It's having the intelligence to actually really assess what do they actually need? What does somebody actually need from us? And it's trying to support them.
Yeah, and I guess, offering that mirror up to them to say, really, is this what you want? Must be a kind of refreshing approach for a lot of them.
Yeah, listen, I can't even explain to you the amount of positive feedback and just the sheer kind of gobsmack kind of reaction that we've had from a lot of people, kind of going like, this is not what we've never had this before. We've never had somebody who's really willing to actually sit down with us and take the time to learn and understand us, but also actually help us carve a path forward. You know, I almost kind of look at it as it's like we're trying to make friends for life here. We're trying to make partners for life with these businesses. We want to help nurture, support them grow, help them grow just as much as we help ourselves. And by support, it's a very symbiotic relationship. If you treat these sorts of interactions, the human element there is transactional. All you're ever going to do is get a paycheck. If you partner with people, it becomes symbiotic. They grow, you grow, you develop, you grow together, and you know, you get to the end of that, and instead of having clients, you've got friends, you've got business partners, you've got equals in the market there, and I think that's just where the world's at right now. It's about being in a symbiotic kind of relationship with these people, these organizations, these great organizations, and supporting them in any way that you can. You know?
Yeah, I think post-pandemic there has been a bit of a shift in how people work and what's important to them, and I guess that's what you're articulating. Are there what are the specific niches that you work with then? What are your target market effectively?
Yeah, well, listen, I mean, one of the things that we're kind of doing at the moment, because I come from a kind of sales and marketing background, so I handle most of the kind of the sales, business development, account management, all that, and the kind of the fancy digital creative art stuff, that side of things there. My colleague Ewan, that works with me as well, he's very much in that kind of digital cloud and data and infrastructure side of things. I actually had an interview with a young guy earlier on today who's potentially going to be joining us. His focus, his specialism is legal compliance. That whole kind of world there. But to be honest with you, you know, between myself and my business partners as well that have obviously invested in this, we've got over 100 years worth of experience within the business world, within multi-different faceted types of industries, across the tech space and everything else, kind of over and above and beyond that. So, including an on the board specialist in cybersecurity, which is quite a rare thing. We actually have a guy in there, and that's what he does. Is he professionally consults, so he consults with us internally on the candidate piece as well, and supports us with that. So, I think. What we're really wanting to do is, and I'm not using the term generalist here because we're not generalists. We've got micro specialisms.
Yes.
We have the resources and the knowledge and the experience internally, and for lack of a better word, the intelligence to actually go out and actually support these businesses with whatever the requirement they're looking for. We're very adaptable, and we're very agile in the way that we work. And like I said before, it's less about the specialist characteristics of the skill sets of people. It's more about culture.
Yeah.
Understanding. Sorry, I knew.
No, I'm just saying your passion absolutely shines through for people and actually being partners, you know, more than transactional partners with people. It just really, really comes through. I hope everyone was getting the same as I am in this interview, which is nice to hear.
Thank you. No, well, listen, it's something that's tremendously important to me. The idea of I've got this kind of crazy vision in my head. The idea of actually supporting and helping these businesses grow is there's nothing that would make me more proud than actually standing back in 5 years' time and looking at a business that we've went in at that early stage, like the one I was talking about just now, and consulted them and supported them, and seeing that growth that they've got. You can stand back and, you know, I helped carve that path for them, and it's just hugely tremendously proud feeling that you get from doing that. You know, so
for sure.
I think that's where the passion probably comes from. It's just that.
Well, I can hear it.
Yeah.
So from a personal level, then you've made the jump from being employee to business owner. How's that been? What have been the highs and lows?
Oh, employee to business owner, back to employee, back to business owner. The highs and lows. God, I think the employee part, moving from an employee to a business owner, I think nobody's prepared for the pressure. Then that initial leap in and that initial kind of feeling that it's all on you and all eyes are on you, and you know you can't have a bad day, because if you have a bad day, then other people suffer for it, and it's really. I think you learn a lot about yourself when you first make that step. You know, everybody thinks they're ready until they do it, and then you kind of go, well, maybe I could have been doing a little bit of a helping hand with this, but you find it out and you find your own path, and it's and you get to look back at it and be amazingly proud of yourself when you do. But it's just being prepared for the fact that it's going to be easier in some ways and harder in other ways than you ever imagined. Yeah. But tremendously rewarding and incredible.
Yeah. And what have you found most difficult in building the business? I know you're early days with this one, but
I think the hardest thing for me for building a business is actually, ironically, is the people part. It's people who are like-minded, and trying not to. I have a really bad habit of investing emotionally way too much in what I think someone's capable of. you know, I will kind of see someone and be like, oh my goodness, they would just be, if they just did X, Y, and Z, they would be incredible. And then I kind of pour all of my effort and energy into trying to help them get there. And that might not be what they are, what they're wanting. Sorry, that might not be what they're, you know?
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
a learner for me. And I think that was the challenging part, was wanting more for other people than they wanted for themselves. Which is tremendously frustrating when you're kind of looking at a diamond and you're just kind of like, oh my goodness, you could be so good if you just did that, you know? That's a challenge. I think that's probably the hardest thing that I found. But it's finding like-minded people, because there's not a problem in human history that has ever not been able to be solved by the onslaught of more brains. And if you can find like-minded individuals like yourself to help you navigate that path, but not yes men are people who just do what they do. You tell them, but I very much kind of have this kind of emergent management style as well. I like to have I like people to disagree with me, but I like them to be able to justify why.
Yeah, you want diversity of thought, don't you? Because it's good for the business. It's good for
absolutely. If everybody just goes, oh, that's a good idea, we'll just do exactly what he says, then I've got absolutely no bearing on whether or not I'm right, and I'm never right all the time.
We're going to record that, but make sure we replay that one. So where's the industry going in the next 3 and 5 years, and what do you need to do to adapt to it, do you think?
I think I'm quite privileged to say that I would predict that we're ahead of the curve quite considerably. So I think the industry is probably going to adapt to being more like us. I think it's probably going to change to be a much more people-focused industry. Like I said, I think recruitment as a whole is just going to start stuck in the 90s kind of type thing. It's very much that kind of old school, throw it at the wall and see what sticks. The whole thing is going to shift, and it's going to break on a lot of these businesses are going to really struggle in the next couple of years, I think, because the expectation of candidates has changed drastically, but also the expectation of businesses now as well. Businesses have woken up to this idea that after COVID, and as horrible as COVID was, I think it did employee well-being a massive favour and a massive good turn, actually, because people stopped and actually looked at what was important in their lives. For the first time in a long time, I think people self-reflected on that. And that businesses are having to change and adapt their methodologies and their processes of how they actually deal with their employees and how they manage people from afar, and what they actually expect of their employees is changing as well. So as all these businesses catch up, the recruitment industry is either going to have to change with it, or it's going to go crusty.
No, I think you're right. So just as we close then, for anyone else starting out in business, what would your top tips be, Douglas?
Top tips. Find someone who's further ahead than you and ask them what they're doing, and just ask for help. Never be afraid to put your hand up and go, I don't actually know, because there'll be somebody out there who's more than willing to help you. And if you want to have a chat, let me know. I'll quite happily talk to you. It's not a problem. Any help at all I can provide in any way at all, I'll happily do. But top tip number one: ask for help if you need it. Admit when you don't know. Admit when you don't know when you don't know. And the kind of third part of that there is probably actually is remember to look after yourself, because having balance is ultra important. Burnout is the #1 fatality of any entrepreneur and new business owner. You have to know when to turn off. You need to be able to turn your laptop off and walk away from it. If you can't do that, you're going to struggle big time. Because the relationships around about you in your personal life are more important than the business that you're building. And if you sacrifice them to build the business, you're going to turn around and find out you've got none of them.
Well, sound advice. So look, wishing you all the best. It sounds like you're doing amazing things in your space. It sounds like it's a fabulous company, and people can get in touch with you just through the website. Is that the best thing to do? Through
the website, LinkedIn, or just give us a call, or even pop in and visit us. We're up in Park Circus in Glasgow, so tea and coffee.
Coffee's on you.
Coffee's on us.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us today, Douglas. All the best.
Thanks very much. Cheers.